If you've been living under a rock and don't know yet, Grow Garden is a simple farming game that a 16-year-old built in just a few days. But it now has more active players than the top 100 Steam games combined. However, when I dug deeper into why Grow a Garden became the most played game in human history, I discovered something that completely changed how I view what makes games addictive. And it's not what you'd think. By the end of this video, you'll understand why millions of players have become obsessed with virtual vegetables and what this tells us about the future of game design. Let me paint you a picture. It's March 26, 2025. While major studios are spending hundreds of millions on the next Call of Duty, a teenager in New Zealand named Jandel is about to accidentally break the internet. The concept? Plant seeds, wait for them to grow, harvest profits, repeat. I know what you're thinking. We've seen farming games before. Farmville dominated Facebook, Stardew Valley captured millions of hearts, and Animal Crossing made Nintendo billions. But here's where Grow Garden is different, and why I think a lot of us completely missed what was actually happening. In just under 2 months, this Roblox user-created game has become the fastest game in Roblox history to reach 1 billion visits, with 21.9 million players online simultaneously on July 19th, 2025. Finance publications such as Investors Business Daily, Barron's, and Motley Fool have partly attributed to the recent rise in Roblox stock prices, including a 21% growth in June. And guess what? It's due to the sudden surge of popularity of Grow Garden. Think about it. A farming simulator moved stock prices. Just let that sink in for a bit. I remember the exact moment I understood why this game was different. It was 2 a.m. and I'd been researching Grow Garden for what I told myself would be 30 minutes. And I found myself staring at a patch of virtual dirt, genuinely excited about a tomato that might grow into something special. The mechanics seem innocent enough. You start with a small plot of land, you buy seeds with the coins you earn from previous harvests. You plant, you wait, sometimes in real time. Your garden literally grows while you're AFK or offline. The loop would be to just harvest, sell, and reinvest. But something felt different from other idle games that I played before. The first hint came when I discovered the mutation system. In Grow a Garden, your plants can undergo unique visual transformations that increase the price of the fruits, which makes them more profitable and valuable. A regular tomato might become a golden tomato, which is worth significantly more. A carrot could transform into a rainbow carrot that's worth many times the original value. Or it might just grow up into something, well, completely normal. You'd never know until it's fully grown. Every plant carries the possibility of something extraordinary. However, the real hook wasn't just the mutations themselves. It was how the game made me think about each planting decision. Since you have a limited plot of land, you gotta think about it. Do I play it safe with cheap, reliable crops? Or do I invest in more expensive seeds that have better chances for valuable mutations? The game even offers sprinkler systems that can maximize fruit size and mutation chances, adding another layer to the decision making. But here's where it gets interesting. After a week of casual gardening, I realized I wasn't just farming anymore. I was running a sophisticated optimization operation disguised as agriculture. However, the game had introduced new elements that changed everything. There's a limited time shop where players can buy or gift another player some items, seeds, and shekels with Robux. These weren't just cosmetic purchases. Players can purchase premium seed packs or premium eggs with Robux that offer different gameplay advantages and opportunities. But what really caught my attention was this detail. Due to gambling laws, certain offers are hidden in Australia, Belgium, the UK, or Netherlands. Think about that. A Roblox farming game has regional restrictions based on gambling laws. That suggests the mechanics are sophisticated enough that regulators in multiple countries have taken notice. However, unlike traditional mobile games that feel exploitative, Grow a Garden's approach feels different. The social elements turned individual optimization into community-driven experiences. Players showcase their gardens, trade rare plants, and compete in mutation contests. Rare mutations aren't just personal wins, they're status symbols and conversation starters. I watched some of my friends develop sophisticated strategies around resource allocation, timing investments, and building diverse portfolios of crops to maximize the chances of success. But then that's when I realized the real masterpiece wasn't the mechanics themselves. It was how accessible they made complexity. Following the launch of its 1.07.0 update, Grow a Garden had nearly 8 million active players, which is more than the top 100 Steam games combined. But that was just the beginning. On July 19th, 2025, Grow Garden reached 21.9 million players online simultaneously. Previous peaks include 21.3 million on June 21, which was the day of its summer update, and over 5 million on May 17, which broke the previous records for a Roblox game. This figure, 21.9 million, would be the highest concurrent user count ever recorded in game history, surpassing Fortnite's 15.3 million. But let me put this in perspective. At its peak, Grow Garden had more people playing simultaneously than the populations of some countries, more than Fortnite at its cultural zenith, and more than World of Warcraft could ever dream of. A farming game made by a teenager in a few days. However, the more I researched Jandal and his development story, the more I realized this wasn't accidental success. Grow Garden was created by a 16-year-old developer called Jandal. But here's what most coverage missed. Jandal isn't just any teenager with a laptop. Jandal is a New Zealand Roblox game developer known for creating multiple successful games, including Steep Steps, Floppy Fighters, Bed Wars, Field Trip Z, and Time Travel Adventures. This wasn't a lucky accident. This was a masterclass in understanding what makes Roblox players tick, delivered by someone who'd been perfecting the formula for years. But what really broke my brain was understanding the economic and psychological engine underneath. While players are just gardening, they're engaging with systems that created sustained engagement through uncertainty, investment, and social comparison. The combination of real money purchases, random outcomes, and limited time offers create what researchers call compelling engagement patterns. The fact that multiple countries resist certain features suggests these mechanics are sophisticated enough to trigger regulatory attention, even though this is just a game about farming vegetables. However, here's what I discovered that changed my entire perspective on this phenomenon. The genius of Grow a Garden isn't that it uses potentially problematic mechanics. It's how it makes those mechanics feel meaningful and rewarding rather than exploitative. Traditional mobile games often feel like they're designed to frustrate you into spending money, whereas Grow a Garden feels like it's designed to reward patience, strategy, and smart decision making. Of course, you could just go, "Herder, me plant seed, me get money." But the mutation system creates genuine excitement and surprise. When a plant transforms into something rare, it feels earned through investment and patience, not just by random luck, even though it kinda is. But this raises interesting questions about design philosophy. I found players describe genuine satisfaction with their gardens, pride in their rare mutations, and enjoyment of the social aspects. The engagement seemed to come from mastery and progression, not from frustration or FOMO. The game is designed in a way where it helps players naturally develop skills around resource management, strategic planning, and understanding probability. They learn to balance immediate rewards with long-term investments. But the real revelation came when I looked at what happened to other games trying to copy Grow a Garden's success. Dozens of farming simulators launched in the following months. Same basic mechanics, same mutation systems, same social features, but most don't even hold a candle to Grow a Garden. Why? It's because they missed the secret ingredient that made Grow a Garden special. The perfect balance between accessibility and depth. A 5-year-old could plant a seed and feel successful, whereas an optimization enthusiast can develop complex strategies around mutation probabilities and resource allocation. The same game serves both audience without compromise. Roblox as a platform has created an environment where games can explode to massive scale overnight because the infrastructure, audience, and monetization tools are already there. What looked like a miracle to outsiders was just the Roblox machine operating at peak efficiency. But this raises bigger questions about the future of gaming. Grow a Garden has beaten games that takes years and millions of dollars to develop. But when a teenager with basic tools can create something more engaging than AAA studios, what does that say about the gaming industry as a whole? I think what Grow a Garden represents is the democratization of game development taken to its logical conclusion. The tools to make a game are now accessible. Roblox as a platform provides distribution. Success depends entirely on understanding what players actually want. But the uncomfortable truth is that understanding what players want increasingly means understanding how to make compelling engagement systems. Modern gaming is converging on similar psychological principles. Things like loot boxes, battle passes, limited time events, random rewards, they're all variations on creating sustained engagement through uncertainty and investment. What makes Grow a Garden interesting isn't that it avoids these mechanics, it's that it implements them in ways that feel rewarding rather than predatory. So here's what I learned from spending way too much time in a virtual garden. Grow a Garden blew up because it solved one of the most fundamental challenges of modern game design. How do you create something immediately accessible but infinitely deep? How do you use engagement engagement mechanics without making players feel exploited? How do you make investment and uncertainty feel meaningful rather than manipulative? The answer, apparently, is to focus on genuine player satisfaction rather than just engagement metrics. Players aren't just clicking for random rewards. They're building something that they actually care about, making strategic decisions, and experiencing genuine surprise and delight when those strategies pay off. However, the success of Grow Garden also reveals something important about the gaming landscape. Platforms like Roblox have become so powerful that they can make overnight successes out of games that might have taken years to find audiences in traditional markets. The democratization of game development is real, and it's changing everything. A 16-year-old in New Zealand can create the most played game in human history, not because of marketing budgets or corporate backing, but because they understood what makes players genuinely happy. And maybe that's the real lesson here. In an industry obsessed with sophisticated monetization and engagement metrics, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is create something that's just, well, fun. 21.9 million simultaneous players, billions of visits, and the distinction of being the most played game in human history. Not bad for a game about planting vegetables. Not bad at all.